Hi folks, David Rudow here of FishTalk magazine. Today we're going to be talking about how to use grass flats to locate large schools of redfish. Let's get into it. When you're looking for these fish on the grass flats, a lot of the times they'll be moving right at that change in depth where the grasses tend to die off a little bit or thicken up a little bit. Sometimes they'll be in the shallow area, sometimes they'll be in the deeper area. It depends on the given day and the temperatures and yada yada yada, so you just got to go out there and check. But you can see these fish are moving along that ledge, and that's generally the area you want to look at. It's right at the edge of the flats. And if you don't find them doing that and you see stuff on top of the flat, then yes, move on top. But more often than not, you'll find them right on that edge. So when they are on top of the flat, like this school of fish here, a lot of the times they won't be moving around as much. I've found this happens a lot more in the fall once the shrimp have moved in. And you can see here the birds are going crazy. The fish are not really going crazy. They're feeding, but they're more so slowly searching, picking apart the grasses and looking for those shrimp, and they are working together. You'll see here a lot of the times when one goes, they'll kind of fight each other, but they'll be pushing up shrimp, and then another one will try to hit it, and then another one will try to hit it. And that's what you want to be looking for on the surface as you're scanning with your eyes is, oh, there's a pop, there's a pop, there's a pop. That's one fish, two fish, three fish hitting at the same shrimp as it pops along the surface. So once you've found this massive school of redfish, let's talk about how to approach them correctly so you can catch as many fish as possible out of it. Because if you do it right, you can catch a ton of them. It's not just, hook one and spook the entire school. You can approach slowly and then cast near the edge, as you'll see right here. Hook one and then horse it out. So, some of the fish will follow and it will spook the school a little bit, but they're not going to go crazy. They're not going to go far, and you can get right back on them and keep casting. Alrighty, as I disappear off to the screen here, you can see this fish has moved not far at all. Some of the fish in the school are still in the cloud that they originally moved from, and they're the ones that were chasing my fish kind of spread out to the right over here. But they're still just hanging out, and we're about to pull up and catch another one. And in this clip, I cast into the middle of the school on purpose to show you just how much of a difference it makes when you're making an effort to cast near the edge and not spook these fish. So we just looked at a school of tight fish on top of a grass flat, eating shrimp and sunning themselves in early winter. Now let's look at a fish on the inside and lower side of a trough near a grass flat, feeding during the incoming tide in the late summer. Check this out. Here, some buddies and I are standing on top of the flat, and you can see the trough off to my right. That is where the tide is sweeping in. It's pushing around bait fish and crabs and all kinds of stuff, all little critters that these redfish are munching on. And the redfish are staging at the end of this and just sitting there and cruising around, crushing this stuff. We sat here for about 30-40 minutes at least and caught a limit of redfish each and then some. We're casting lures here, but this would be the perfect spot to soak a bait like a peeler crab or a soft crab, a shrimp. Really anything with some smell in it is going to get the attention of at least a couple of these fish in the school and send them their way. You can see there's a bunch of fish to the right off here. There's also fish swimming around in the grasses to the left in a little bit deeper water. There's about 4 scooting along even farther to the left on their side of the screen here. There are a lot of fish around here. So these incoming tidal areas where you've got some deeper water all around and a flat above surrounded by grasses, perfect area to soak a bait and wait for fish to come through or move around and search with a kayak. Here we've got another great example of reds cruising the edge of a grass flat, but what I really want you to see is how important it is to put pauses and sometimes just slow down your retrieve a little bit. Look at all these redfish crashing after this bait, and they can't get it until it finally stops. Keep an eye on the right side of your screen for the splash from another cast. This is a perfect example of when the fish are more spread out like this, but really fired up. They don't really care if there's another one hooked around them. This is going to hit the water, and 2 seconds later, another fish is going to be on. This is 2 fish hooked in the exact same area in about 30 seconds. One's fighting, going crazy off to the left, and another one gets hooked right off to the right. They don't care. If the water is clean and there are grasses around and you have change in depth, keep looking. Don't stop and pick apart an area just because it looks really good. I usually will not stop kayaking around, and I'll keep searching and searching, and I'll move until I find a consistent number of fish. And, I spook a big school, or I see 10 within 5 minutes. That's the numbers you want to be looking for, and if you keep looking, you'll generally find that. Sometimes conditions aren't perfect, and obviously then you have to readjust, but when they're right, that's what you should be looking for. Here is another clip where the sheer number of fish is just borderline shocking. There are hundreds and hundreds of fish chocked into this one little zone. This is another lane right inside of 2 grass flats in between them, and the fish are popping on top of them in the areas where the grasses are a little bit deeper, and they're running along the edges of them where they're shallower. It's another prime example of them running alongside the edges of the grass flats. We're going to end the video here today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this format of video with drone footage and voiceover, please let us know in the comments, and we'll do our best to continue to post footage like this.